Hey third graders, welcome to Module 7, Lesson 5. Today we're going to prep you guys for tomorrow's lesson in class where we're going to compare and classify other polygons. So there is a lot of geometry vocabulary that you guys need to know. So today we're going to go over the words of polygon, parallel, and parallelogram. It's important for you guys to start remembering what these words mean, and whatever you can do to help remember, just like tell it to yourself, study it, say the word over to yourself and what it means. Just start being responsible for knowing that you need to know what these words mean. Let's get started. The first word that you guys need to know is polygon. We talked about polygon in class, that it was a shape, but there's actually certain rules that you have to follow to be a polygon because not every shape is a polygon. So how do you know it's a polygon? All of these are examples of polygons. Our triangle, our square, our strange shape here with 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So I guess our octagon here, our trapezoid here, and our rectangle here. These are all polygons. There's more polygons than just this, but this is a good example of many polygons. Now these are not polygons down here. If you have any round edges, you cannot be a polygon. So a circle, not a polygon. If you have more than one inside area, you're not a polygon. A polygon, you're only allowed to have one inside area. This one has two, so that would not be one. You have to have more than two sides to be a polygon. So just an angle where the two lines come together, that would not be a polygon. It needs to have that third line to complete the triangle to be a polygon. So a polygon has to have more than two sides. A polygon must be closed. That means, so see how these little two lines, it's like it doesn't finish itself off. It's like they're just kind of hanging out in the breeze. That makes it so that it's not a polygon. Plus, if we completed this anyway, it would look like this and it still wouldn't be a polygon, but you can't have those little extra lines hanging off. A polygon has to be two-dimensional. So anything three-dimensional, we would not call a polygon. Now this shape right here, it breaks so many rules that we don't call it a polygon. Look it's got a curved edge. It's got more than one inside space. It has a little hangy off thing. So yeah, it breaks almost like all the rules. So that would not be a polygon. Okay, now that you guys have looked at this, you're gonna get quizzed and you're gonna have to tell me, are these shapes a polygon or not? On your notes right now, I'd like you guys to write A, B, C, and D, and I'm gonna zoom in just a little bit for you. And I'd like you to tell me if these are a polygon or not. If you don't remember the rules of a polygon, all you have to do is go back in the video and take a look at the poster about if it's a polygon or not. So all you're gonna say is polygon or not polygon, polygon or not polygon, polygon or not polygon, polygon or not polygon. All right, do that and then press pause and press play when you're done. All right, here's the answers. Pause if you're not ready. All right, so A is yes, it is a polygon because it's all straight sides, no curved edges. B is not a polygon because it's a circle and it's all curved edges, so that doesn't count. C is a polygon because it's a strange looking shape, but it's all straight edges. They're closed, there's only one inside area. There's no little hangy offies. It's two-dimensional, so yes, that is. And then D is no, it's not a polygon because it looks like a triangle, but it's got this little extra line hanging off the end, so that makes it not a polygon. How did you guys do? The next word that you guys need to know is parallel. So parallel means that you have two lines side by side that never touch. So let's take a look at these lines right here. So if these lines were to go on forever, like they had arrows on them, and they kept just growing and going forever and ever in both directions. If they're side by side, but they never will touch, even if they go on forever, that makes them parallel. So these are parallel right here because they would never touch. So that word parallel, look at it, even has parallel lines in the word parallel to help you remember what it means. So the two L's in parallel are parallel to each other, or the three L's actually, because none of these would ever touch if they kept growing. So these would also be parallel because even though this line is shorter, they're still side by side And if they kept growing forever and ever, they would never touch ever, but they're side by side. They're kind of like BFFs. They never get in each other's way. All right, are these lines right here parallel? Yes, they are. So if they kept going on forever and ever, they would never touch. And then what about these ones right here? Are these parallel? Yeah, because if they kept going on forever and ever, they would never touch. So if I had my two lines and they kept going forever and ever, they would never, ever, 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 ever run into each other. Now let's look at these lines down here. Are these parallel? Well, they don't touch right now, but will they if they keep going? Yeah, that bottom one is going to run right into the other one. So if they kept going, they would run right into each other. So no, this is not parallel. What about these ones right here? And you guys don't need to be writing anything down. You're just watching and thinking along with me. So are these parallel right here? This line and this line? No, not at all. So they're very clearly going to run into each other very soon. So if they kept growing, they would run into each other. What about these lines? Are these parallel? No way. They're already crossing each other. They're already touching. So they are not parallel. What about these two lines right here? They're not touching now, but will they if they keep going? And if I look on this side, no, they're not going to touch if they keep going. Actually, they're going to get further apart. What if they go this way? Psh, they're going to eventually cross over and run into each other. So no, not parallel. And what about this one right here? Nope, this is a perfect right angle, and the two lines join together to make that right angle. So these are not parallel. These are a right angle. All right, now let's see if you guys can figure it out. On your notes, I would like you guys to say if these are parallel or not parallel. Go ahead and do that. Press pause and press play when you're done. All right, if you're not ready for the answer, make sure to press pause, but here we go. A is parallel because if they keep going on forever and ever, they won't touch. B, they're already touching. C, they're already touching. And D is also parallel because if they keep going on forever and ever, they're not going to touch. How did you guys do? Did you know that shapes have parallel sides? It really does make sense. On your notes, can you guys please draw this rectangle? And then if you guys could figure out, do you see any parallel lines in this rectangle? So remember, the lines cannot touch. So I see some lines that don't touch that are parallel in this rectangle. So I see this line and this line right here. They're side by side, and if they kept going on forever, they would never touch. Now, if you don't have a different color to color in the different sides of your rectangle, a math symbol that you can use is you can draw one line here and one line here to show that this side and this side match because they have matching lines crossing them. And that's just a math symbol. It's not really part of the rectangle. I see another pair of parallel lines though in this shape. Do you guys see it? I hope you saw that this side and this side are parallel. So I'm going to put this side matches to this side. And you can do that too. What about our triangle? Does our triangle have any parallel sides? Well, let's see. So this line, does it have an opposite line that's never, that is going to go side by side but never touch? No, it doesn't on that one. What about this one here? No, it doesn't have an opposite side that will just go side by side with it but never touch. What about this side here? Nope. So this one has no parallel sides. Okay, what about our trapezoid here? Do you guys see any parallel sides with that one? Go ahead and draw it and see if you can find any parallel sides. So I noticed that this one right here and this one right here, they're opposite of each other, but they're not parallel because they're going to keep going on and on forever, but then they're going to crash into each other somewhere up at the top. So those are not parallel. But if I look at these two lines right here, this one and this one, those ones are parallel because if they keep going on forever and ever, they won't touch. So this one and this one, those are parallel. Let's look at this last trapezoid here. Do you see any parallel lines there? Go ahead and draw it and then see if you can find any parallel sides. So remember to press pause if you need to. All right, so I noticed that this line here and this line here, these are not parallel because eventually they're gonna crash into each other at the top of my paper. But this line right here and this line right here and this side right here, excuse me, those are parallel because if they kept going on, they would never ever touch. So I'm going to give them my little symbol to show that they match. Okay, so now that you've seen parallel shapes inside, or parallel sides inside of a shape, there's a new word that I want you guys to think about. It's called a parallelogram. Obviously, and go ahead and write down this word while I talk about it. A parallelogram has that word parallel in it. And a parallelogram means that there are two pairs of parallel sides. So that means that the shape has two pairs of parallel sides or more. So this shape right here would be a parallelogram because it has one pair, two pairs of parallel lines. So this would be a parallelogram. Our triangle would not be a parallelogram. It has no parallel sides. Our trapezoid only has one pair of parallel sides, so that would not be a parallelogram either. And if this trapezoid is not a parallelogram, then this trapezoid is not going to be a parallelogram. For it to be a trapezoid, it can have one pair of parallel sides, but that's it. So we would call it a trapezoid, but not a parallelogram. Okay, your final problem today, you guys are going to draw this square, and then I want you to say which words describe this square. So is a square A, a polygon, B, a quadrilateral, C, a parallelogram, or D, all of the above? Now we haven't talked about that word quadrilateral in this video, but if you remember in class, quadrilateral, quad means four, four-sided shape. All right. Go ahead and get that done, and then I will see you guys tomorrow. Hopefully you guys remember what these words mean. I'm going to quiz you. All right. Good night, you guys.